Just keep deferring taxes. This common advice from Wall Street could cost you a fortune in retirement. After analyzing tax strategies for hundreds of clients, I've consistently noticed one thing. Those who strategically leverage Roth conversions find themselves with more after-tax wealth than those who blindly defer taxes for as long as possible. In this video, I'm sharing why financial institutions often overlook this powerful tax planning strategy and how implementing surgical Roth conversions can dramatically reduce your lifetime tax bill. Let's get into it. Retirement planning experts increasingly recommend Roth conversions, yet most retirement savers have never executed one. So why this massive disconnect? It's certainly not from a lack of interest. Searches for Roth conversion strategies have surged dramatically in recent years. And with the current tax rates set to increase in 2026, this interest has only accelerated. Unfortunately, traditional financial institutions often fail to recommend this strategy, not because it's bad advice, but because it's overlooked by advisors who lack advanced tax planning expertise. In fact, many financial advisors are instructed by their companies not to give tax advice at all. Big-name financial institutions also make their shareholders happy by keeping as much of your money invested as possible. Recommending that clients voluntarily send large chunks of money to the IRS isn't always what's best for their bottom line. As a result, high earners who were never eligible to make Roth contributions often miss out on another powerful planning opportunity, the Roth conversion. But perhaps the biggest barrier is not the misleading advice or the conflicts of interest. It's psychological. Writing a check to the IRS today feels painful, especially when you've been conditioned to delay taxes for as long as possible. This tax anxiety creates hesitation and resistance to conversions, even when they clearly make sense. It's human nature. We'd rather avoid immediate pain, even when it means accepting greater future pain. But here's the shift in thinking. Paying taxes today is not a loss. It can be a form of control and certainty. The tax bill has to be paid at some point. So you can either lock in today's known tax rates and pay the taxes on your terms when it's most advantageous to you, or you can wait for the IRS to come knocking on your door telling you when and how much to pay. Understanding these psychological barriers is essential, but even more critical is realizing how traditional advice against Roth conversions may prevent you from unlocking lower taxes and a more adaptable retirement plan. Here's the truth. Traditional 401ks and IRAs come with a hidden catch. The more you defer into these accounts, the more these accounts grow, the more you owe the IRS. Not today, but eventually. And that eventually often arrives at the worst possible time. Most retirees assume that they'll be in a lower tax bracket when they stop working. But for diligent savers with healthy nest eggs, the opposite turns out to be true. Why? Because starting as early as age 73, required minimum distributions, or RMDs, kick in. And the IRS doesn't care if you need these distributions or not. They force you to withdraw large chunks of your pre-tax retirement accounts and pay ordinary income tax on every single dollar. Now, stack that on top of Social Security, pension income, dividends and interest, and other income sources, and suddenly you're in a higher tax bracket than when you were working. This is what I call the tax time bomb. And it doesn't stop at income taxes. It also creates a cascade of other tax nightmares. For example, a new client recently hired us in a panic. He had followed the traditional advice perfectly. He maxed out his 401k for decades, stuck with his investment plan, never questioned his advisor, and accumulated a $2.5 million pre-tax retirement account. At age 73, his first year of RMDs, his mandatory taxable withdrawal was just shy of $95,000. And that was just the beginning. By age 80, his RMD was projected to be close to $150,000. And this was on top of his Social Security, pension, dividends, and rental income. As a result, his taxable income in retirement was higher than during his working years, triggering increased Medicare premiums, higher taxes on Social Security, higher capital gains tax brackets, and loss deductions. A retirement full of unexpected tax increases, not because he planned poorly, but because he followed conventional wisdom without questioning it. And by the time most retirees realize what's happening, it's too late to course correct. The deferral game is over. the tax bill is due, and the IRS is driving the bus. Unfortunately, the financial industry rarely highlights these risks. They show you projection after projection of how your account will grow tax deferred, but omit what that long-term tax deferral could mean for your future retirement years. Why? Because the immediate tax savings of deferring taxes feels good to people, while a looming future tax bill seems distant and abstract. In other words, defer, defer, defer is an easy, comfortable conversation to have. However, this conventional approach sacrifices long-term efficiency for short-term comfort. But Roth conversions are not just about reducing future taxes and avoiding hidden surcharges. They're also about creating the flexibility and control that you need over your money in retirement. So fundamentally, what does a conversion strategy like this actually look like? Today's historically low tax rates have created a valuable window for Roth conversions. Federal tax brackets currently range from 10% to 37%. And while nobody has a crystal ball, it's hard to find credible experts who strongly believe that taxes will be lower in the future. But the benefits go far beyond just tax rates. When you convert pre-tax retirement money to a Roth IRA, you do something pretty remarkable. You permanently remove that money from the government's grasp. In a world of increasing uncertainty, government debt, and spending, you have a legal opportunity to forever shield a portion of your wealth from future tax law changes. With a Roth IRA, your invested money grows 100% tax-free for as long as you live. Withdrawals in retirement are also tax-free. There are never any required distributions to deal with, and your heirs inherit the money tax-free. Perhaps most importantly for high earners, there are no income limits for Roth conversions. While high earners cannot make Roth contributions, anyone can convert traditional 401k or IRA money to a Roth IRA regardless of income level. Now, let's be clear. Blindly converting your entire 401k in one single year and triggering a massive tax bill all at once is rarely the answer. That's not strategy. That's self-sabotage. Instead, what works best is what I call the surgical Roth conversion strategy. Unlike an all-or-nothing approach, surgical conversions involve systematically moving money from your pre-tax retirement accounts into a Roth IRA across multiple tax years. It's about converting exactly the right amount at exactly the right time to pay favorable tax rates today while maximizing your after-tax wealth tomorrow. Here's how it works. First, we compare your future projected tax rate to your current tax rate to identify what we call your conversion ceiling. The goal here is to ensure that you don't pay a higher tax rate today than what you'll pay in the future. If you're projected to land and remain safely in the 24% tax bracket in the future, why would you pay 32% today? Second, we've spread conversions strategically across multiple years. Rather than a single, massive conversion that could push you into a high, unfavorable tax bracket, we'll attack each year in isolation and process smaller conversions each year up to your conversion ceiling. Third, we time Roth conversions around income fluctuations. More specifically, the years between the day you retire and when Social Security and required distributions begin often create a valley or a drop in your tax rate. For many of my clients, these years represent a critical window where we can execute larger conversions while staying in favorable tax brackets. Once Social Security and RMDs begin, income spikes again, and the opportunity to convert money to a Roth IRA typically evaporates. And remember, the surgical Roth conversion strategy is not just about saving on taxes. It's about creating meaningful financial flexibility. For example, you gain immediate access to tax-free funds for unplanned retirement expenses, such as a medical event, home repairs, or a spontaneous family vacation, all without increasing your annual tax bill. In addition, your heirs, who may be in their peak earning years when you pass away, receive this money tax-free, making conversions an attractive legacy planning tool. It's crucial, however, to manage Roth conversions carefully. For starters, it's prudent to pay taxes on conversions from non-retirement accounts, so be sure that you have a smart cash management plan in place. Also, be sure to factor in Medicare IRMAA surcharges, recognizing that near-term increases to your Medicare premiums may be justified by substantial lifetime tax savings. Lastly, be sure that you take the Roth conversion 5-year rule into consideration, which is different than the Roth contribution 5-year rule. Reading the IRS code on this topic will make your head spin, but all you really need to do is answer these 2 questions to determine if the Roth conversion 5-year rule affects you. Number 1, do you have a Roth IRA that was funded at least 5 years ago with any dollar amount? Number 2, are you age 59 and a half or older? If you answered yes to both, congratulations, you can withdraw converted dollars and any earnings without any restrictions. But if you said no to the first question, you must wait 5 years to withdraw investment growth from all Roth conversions. And if you're still under age 59 and a half, each conversion you do has its own separate 5-year waiting period to avoid the 10% penalty. With all that in mind, here's a little known tip. While Roth conversions may or may not be in your future, open a Roth IRA with any amount today to start the 5-year clock and satisfy question number 1. Roth conversions can be wildly valuable, but I want to be completely transparent. This is not a do-it-yourself project unless you have extensive tax planning experience or you want to spend your time in retirement becoming an expert. The calculations for optimal conversion amounts involve projecting future income, understanding tax bracket transitions, anticipating potential law changes, and modeling multiple scenarios to evaluate the opportunity from different angles. And this analysis needs to be done every year, often multiple times per year. It is not a set it and forget it strategy. That's why for most retirement savers, guidance from a retirement and tax planning professional can be so valuable for Roth conversion planning. Now that you understand the powerful opportunity that strategic Roth conversions can create, you can see why this approach deserves serious consideration despite many advisors overlooking it. If you're interested in hiring a retirement and tax planning expert, just click the link in the description to book a call with my team. Together, we will help analyze your current situation and determine if surgical Roth conversions could improve flexibility, remove uncertainty, and potentially save you 6 or even 7 figures in lifetime taxes.